अजमन राधे 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 गोविंदा Let's hear it, everyone. Radhe, 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 Govinda. Ajamana Radhe, 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 Govinda. Let's hear it, Ajamana Radhe, Radhe. Let's hear it, Ajamana Radhe, 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 Govinda. Ajamana Radhe, Govinda. Ajamana Radhe, Govinda.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wisdom Wednesdays. Nice to see you, Graham and Vita and Diane. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I hate to be stopping the music because it just got fast and really fun to listen to.
Is that popular music being sung in Hindi or?
Yeah, it's a mantra in Sanskrit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Precursor to Hindi.
Sorry?
The precursor to Hindi.
Oh, yeah, you could say that. I just sent it on the chat in case anybody.
Yeah, I mean, you can see I was doing Tai Chi.
Did your rhythm with Tai Chi match the music?
Not really, but it was, I mean, the music that you choose is always pleasant.
Oh, I love Radhika Das's music. So honestly, it's a lot of repeat, but thank you for the comment nonetheless. How are you doing, Vita?
I'm good. How are you? Nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too.
Yeah, the music was a nice start. The Tai Chi was looking great.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
Graham
right
is
away.
an expert.
Yeah, like inspiration. Absolutely.
Right. All right.
I don't do nearly as much Tai Chi as I should.
Well, one day at a time, right? All we can do is just breathe and take it as it comes and do the best we can.
Wise words. All right. Before we go into the talk, I'm gonna have a little icebreaker to help us. So today's topic is called the Super Bowl of Spiritual Life. If you guys are following around, this Sunday is actually the Super Bowl. So I don't know how many of you are no are how involved you are, you have any fun stories, but I just wanted to ask, do you have any Super Bowl traditions that you follow maybe in your family, or how do you feel about having them or not having them, or anything that you do around the Super Bowl or don't do that you want to share? Um, yeah.
Well, to be really honest, I mean, I'm not a huge football fan, but and I saw I saw your posts in of your excitement and your energy for Super Bowl, and I was like, I'll take the energy from it. So that was lovely. My brother and my dad are both followers, and the last time the Super Bowl was won here years ago, I was bartending down in Pioneer Square in Seattle, and
Oh.
it was wild. It was like, I mean, it was like, so we had, I remember there was a couple different games, but then we had the 49ers. I'll never forget because they rep hard. Like they don't, it's not like a little bit.
Mhm.
Like I was at work at like 7 a.m. and they're in the streets with red flags and like, and then the Seahawks won and the entire city went into like all night was people on top of their cars riding around and celebrating. And it was quite a memory. I think I have videos somewhere, but yeah.
Nice.
Um, it's definitely, I think I was bartending like 10 people deep for 10 hours that day. It was like nonstop. It was so it's a wild crowd.
Yeah, I remember that night. Oh man. Yeah, but that was a blowout victory. I don't have any, traditions for Super Bowl. I'm not the type that does beer and popcorn or I wouldn't mind doing nachos. I've always loved nachos.
For sure.
But
I hear that.
no hard pass on the Velveeta. I want real cheese.
I'll do the vegan cheese, but I love nachos.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, vegan or see, I used to have a lactose intolerance. I don't anymore, which is interesting.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I would have had a problem with mata paneer or nachos with a lot of cheese. Yeah, love nachos. And I remember, celebrating not quite in the manner you're talking about. But no, I was definitely celebrating the Super Bowl when it was it put Seattle on the map. Um, the following year was a big disappointment, um, and I'm hoping that this is going to be payback time. I'm sorry, I do not like the New England Patriots.
They're going to be great. Seahawks are going to win. We're going to do this. We got this.
All right,
I
More
love
power.
I love the spirit.
Let's,
I
let's
played
go
football in
team.
high school, so
Yeah.
yeah, I played for. I mean, I graduated from Ingram High School, so
Wait, you played football, Graham?
I did. I played football. I got a
What?
helmet. Yeah, I
No,
was one of those type of guys.
for how long?
Um, yeah, just a couple of years.
Okay.
I didn't do it in college, and then I would play flag football with friends, but yeah, um, yeah, I did put the equipment. I put it. I played football in junior high as well.
Mm, that's really cool. I used to be really overwhelmed by those guys because they just looked so cool with their yeah, and I feel like one of my memories from the Super Bowl is more through high school and middle school because everyone would wear the gear around it, so you just feel like you're involved, even though I didn't really know more about it. And then I remember just walking into the streets and like what you experienced, I saw. So I can't imagine what experiencing that like a rush would have been on the actual day. But yeah, we didn't really have any traditions, but I think in college, because now we all have apartments, we're like meeting to watch it together the Sundays, I guess. That might become a tradition.
Well, the thing is interesting. I mean, American football, the scoring is really complex. I mean, when you're playing, you mentioned football anywhere else, but North America, U.S. or Canada, football. Okay, everybody means soccer. Okay, so score, you win a point. So if you beat somebody like 5-1, that's a rout. Whereas football, okay, you have field goal is 3 points, a safety is 2 points, touchdown is 6 points, and then the try for point is 1, or 2-point conversion is when you actually run the ball into the end zone after scoring a touchdown. That's 2 points.
There's like a flyer that from you, Graham, that tells me how to play or understand.
That tells you what?
That tells me like how to actually understand watching the game because I'm always confused.
Well, I mean, how old were you when you came to the States?
Um, it's been like 11 years.
See, when I met you, I thought you were born here.
You did tell me that.
And I mean, that's the thing. When you're young enough, you lose the accent of wherever you came from.
Mhm.
I mean, my grandfather was the same way. I think he was like 13 or something, but he had, I never met him because he died when my dad was 7. But my dad told me that he had no accent. And he was a Scandinavian immigrant.
That's funny. All right. Thank you everyone for sharing. I'm really excited for this talk because maybe
I shut you out completely. You gotta don't let me dominate everything.
Graham, we're not dominating anything. We're all talking. Don't worry. Don't worry. Right. You guys might be wondering who this speaker is. So maybe I'll just clear up that suspense and tell you it's gonna be Ayan. And you guys already might know him from Bhakti Studio, just seeing him around. But he's also an avid participant of Wisdom Wednesdays and so many events that we host. So I do want to give him that proper introduction and introduce him. Professionally, he's a cloud advocate at Microsoft. Just such a cool job. Like he gets to go to conferences, make videos about education and whatnot. So it's really cool. And more than that, he's been practicing Bhakti Yoga for more than 5 years now. And he really spearheaded the Bhakti Studio initiative that we have. We wouldn't have that space without him and, his guide for doing that. So really grateful to have you share your wisdom with us, Ayan. And yeah, feeling really grateful. So,
Thank you, Anya. Thank you for that introduction, which is saying too much for the little I do, but thank you so much. I appreciate it. And, I really love this community because I also get so much out of it. And I've learned to speak and share whatever I'm learning in this journey. So I'm grateful for the opportunity because whenever I speak or have to speak, I have to go in, do some research, and it nourishes me just as much as hopefully it'll nourish you. So today we are talking about a playbook for spiritual success. And it's an introduction to Bhakti Yoga strategy. So we're going to be using sports language in today's presentation as much as possible. I've never been a huge sports kind of person. My parents put me in all kinds of different sports and activities. Never really did too well in them, but sports is one of those things which we always associate with discipline and strength and developing a practice, improving. So today is going to be about not about being perfect, but it's about training and showing up. And hopefully by the end, you'll leave with some drills that you can practice out on the field, which is the real world, that you can, put into your everyday life. So before we dive any deeper, I wanted to start with a quick activity. So when you hear the word discipline, what is one word or maybe a group of words that you associate with it? And you can drop it in the chat or say it out loud. When you hear discipline, what is the word that you associate with it?
For me, it would be eating well.
Eating well.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that.
I would have to say self-control.
Self-control. Okay.
And of course, there's always negative connotations, discipline, because you think corporal punishment.
Yes. Manya?
I was gonna say consistency.
Consistency, right. So kind of how like Graham pointed out, the word discipline feels heavy. It's something that's always like, it feels like a burden. It feels like, oh, I'm going to have to carry bricks on my back. I'm going to have to do some austerity. It's not so easy, but, and that's part of the reason why it's so hard to even set New Year's resolutions. It requires discipline, but hopefully today the goal is that will make it feel a little bit more doable. So I really love this picture. It's AI generated, but it's a football player preparing themselves by applying tape to their hand, whereas there's someone practicing spirituality and chanting on beads. So discipline looks the same everywhere. We sometimes think that spirituality is just a mood, but it comes down to growth and training. It requires practice, resilience, and support. So the roadmap that we'll dive into in this example is we have the locker room, the grind, the victory. So the locker room in this case represents culture and strategy, who you surround yourself with. What is your plan, right? It is the prep before the game. The grind, it's the execution and resilience, the daily reps, the consistency, the recovery. The one thing that I'd really like is the recovery is included, right? It's not just putting yourself out there and pushing yourself to the max. It's important to recover. It's important to take time to know what you need. So if we convert this into like spiritual practice terms, I hear all the time how someone, when they develop a taste for japa or meditation on beads, they will go at it. They'll be like, oh, I did 5 hours today, or I did, 24 rounds on the set of beads. But it only lasts 2 or 3 days. It's this golden period. And after that, it's like back to nothing. So the recovery is really important. We're not trying to push ourselves to the extent where we collapse. We have to give more attention to the daily repetition and the consistency. And finally, victory. What does winning actually mean? So in this case, victory means inner transformation. We're not looking for a one-day win, which is, one-day wins are great. Small goals equal big goals. But the biggest goal that we're aiming for in spiritual practice is inner transformation, which is the true victory. So that's a little bit of the roadmap for today, and one way to look at the process of getting ready to play the game, which in this case is Bhakti Yoga. So the first play, or the first concept I wanted to highlight is, don't be a lone wolf. We grow together, not alone. Cooperation over competition. So oftentimes I see individuals, and even for myself, initially, when I was picking up a spiritual practice, it's really easy to feel like doing it in isolation, thinking that spiritual practice is something to be done in isolation. I mean, typically many of the activities that we associate with spiritual practice don't inherently feel like they require other people. But the goal is to normalize needing other people. To show community is a spiritual strategy. It's not optional. human beings are community driven, family driven individuals. We thrive when there's people around us. No matter how introverted you are, we all need our people, our tribe. So community is really important. Isolation makes it easier for the mind to spiral and the ego to grow unchecked. It's very easy to start. There's a spiritual mentor of mine, and he says, "Fear the fade," where essentially it's very easy for habits that start off great to slowly fade away, and you won't even realize it. 2 months in, you'll be like, "Oh, what I was doing before with great quality, I'm now doing while scrolling on my phone and talking to people or being distracted, or my mind is no longer present." So in Bhakti Yoga, supportive association isn't about social aspects. I mean, that's always part of it. We are human beings after all, but it's also strategic. There's also the analogy of tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are, right? Because the association that you surround yourself with is really important. So another fun activity, we can take maybe a minute or so. Share one habit you're trying to build and one thing that usually knocks you off track. So what is something that you're trying to build as a habit, and why is that habit hard to develop? And we'll think for a minute. Okay, 20 more seconds in case you're still thinking or writing something down. All right. Would anybody feel comfortable sharing?
Sure.
Thank you.
I think I wrote a whole bunch of things down, so I'll try and focus on one. I think lately I've just really been trying to be more consistent in a few aspects of my life, and that would be I am a lone wolf person a lot of my life, like huge, and it's very hard for me to maintain community on a regular basis. Even though once I do, I'm really grateful and I'm super happy that I do. But a lot of the times I do go introverted, even though I can be extroverted individual. Um, but lately meditation has been one of my consistencies that has been a huge focus for me and been really trying to maintain that. It is hard, but I really try to maintain every day before I go to sleep at least some sort so that, and it really helps me feel a lot grounded and maintain a grounded place within myself. And then I'd say, um, stretching and like getting back into a workout. I used to work out a lot and I've been really lacking in that. Sometimes it's really hard for me because I deal with a lot of inflammatory situations. And so I have a lot of pain in my body, and then it kind of deters me at times when I go into those places. And so that's something that I've been working back to get back on track. So,
Absolutely.
mhm.
Yeah, no, even for myself, that's something that it's been like a lifelong battle, honestly, at least for the past few years of like, making sure that I am healthy and, not just sitting in a chair all day, stuck up in a room, getting fresh air. So I really hear you on that one. And
Yeah.
I really appreciate you sharing about your meditation practice. So for your meditation practice, what would you say is the hardest part to do it every day? Like when it doesn't happen, do you think there's a specific reason it doesn't happen? Are there any patterns you see?
I've been really good lately, so I've been super great since the first of the year. So I'm not in a void at the moment. But I it's just I don't know, sometimes I feel like a wild flare in myself that's like
Mm.
that just wants to go be wilder and like a different world instead of like a really focused internal evolving place. And sometimes I just feel like stepping out of the box, and sometimes that place I don't feel it as much as I get older, but it's just I don't know, I've been doing really good. So I'm
That's
gonna
great to
just
hear.
keep going really good.
That's great to hear. I'm so glad. Thank you for
Thank
sharing.
Of course.
I can share one. It's a small habit, but it's something that I didn't quite grow up doing, but it's just making my bed in the morning and keeping my room more clean. Um, I think what makes it really hard for me is that whenever I'm getting something new out, like or I'm trying out clothes, like I'll just put it on my chair and before I know it, it'll pile up and it's just so chaotic for my brain to handle. But I've been doing it for this week and it's just made it so much better because having like a physical place that's uncluttered just makes me feel so much better. So yeah, that's a habit I'm trying to build up.
Mm. Do you think that's like a habit which community or someone like, I don't know, like a cheerleader or a coach or something could make easier? Like, do you find that to be easier just with yourself, or like, have you asked anyone for help?
That's a good question. Yes, I have. One of my friends is really neat, so I always ask him for help because he's really good at that. So definitely community makes a big difference. And I feel like when you hear it from a friend instead of a parent, it just hits you in a different way. Like it's not like my parents haven't told me this. They've told me a lot of times. But it's just like when you get it from someone that knows you better, it just helps. So yeah.
Mm, yeah. Graham?
I'd have to say, well, one of the habits that I'm trying to break is my addiction to sugar, and I'm diabetic, and yeah, that should have told me something years ago. Hey, knock off the sugar. And for those of you who know me, I have a weakness, especially for gulab
Love
jamun.
jamuns.
And I did try it with the ice cream. And, oh,
Me too, Graham. Me too.
okay. As far as habits that I'm trying to build, I would have to say, as Nina said, consistency. Um, one of the things that I'm trying to study, this is more, it's not so much our topic here, but it's a topic that interests me. It's ham radio, because you get people that are amateurs, amateur radio. One of the things that they do is help everybody else.
Mm,
This is what appeals to me. That aside from it just the tech where you're talking. If you're on shortwave, you're talking to somebody you know on the other side of the world, and without getting technical, you're able to communicate in all different forms. So I want to study for that, and I need to actually study so I can get my license.
mm.
Other
Yeah.
than that, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, I was acknowledging. I think it's great.
Well, it's I've got you know I've got a scanner that I listen to, and I used to be able to pick up the police scan until they went all digital and encrypted. And okay, well they're doing that for a reason. But I can pick up aircraft, marine, maritime. And this interest came from when my dad had a scanner. He would listen to ships coming in the harbor, in and out of the sound. And so I'd pick up on that, and then I'd listen to these guys talking on, these guys are hams, they're amateur radio, and they're talking about their equipment and everything, and you're thinking, okay, this is all materialistic, but really, the equipment is to enhance their experience. For one, pick up weak signals, and strong signals, they'll come in even better, and so they can better communicate. And again, accomplish more than just getting on the air and just jabbering, but actually, if there's somebody that needs help, hey, let's contact the emergency channel and get these people the help that they need.
Yes, absolutely, Graham. Thank you for sharing. And Dana put in the chat, I would say pausing and checking in with myself throughout the day, noticing how I'm feeling and slowing down and not rushing or cramming so many things into a day that I can't feel or check in with self. Definitely. Thank you so much, everybody, for sharing. And part of the reason I asked that question is because I wanted to highlight the commonality, which is we're all working on something. I mean, life is a work in progress. But the commonality is that we will oftentimes find that community is what really helps something grow. I mean, whether it's like the ham radios Graham was talking about, I mean, there's so many like Facebook groups and communities which help with that, or whether it's like, meditation. I know the only reason I was able to develop a consistent meditation practice is because I had a meditation group, and like I had a streak going where every day at 4 a.m. in the morning, there'd be a Zoom call. And I think I had a streak on that Zoom call for about close to a year, where I would not miss a day of joining that 4 a.m. Zoom call. And that helped me develop a practice. So this exercise was just a more practical example of the importance of community in what we do, even if we feel like we may not need it. Or like Manya talked about how even she had a friend. Community doesn't have to mean, a whole group of people, but it can just mean one other person or two other people or three other people who help you. All right.
I love that. So just to chime in really quick, I love that, because I think sometimes what I've noticed recently, I had joined, I've been part of this other community, and there's so many people, like it's so many that there's no intimacy for me at all. And it's really hard for me to just feel like I'm sharing to people I have no idea who they are. And sometimes it's just nice to have some familiarity. It doesn't have to be like super one-on-one or it's just the fact that there's some intimacy of just an energy that's present that you can feel, that's somewhat focused and somewhat engaged with each other, that is personal to some degree. I feel like that's much more evolving for myself. Everybody works different, of course, but
No, I don't think that's just yourself. And this actually flows really well with the slide of trusting the playbook. So in Bhakti Yoga, there's a Sanskrit verse which talks about essentially what you're saying. And it's like, Dadati pratigrinati ghuyamakyati prachiti bhunkta bhojete cheva shadvedam priti lakshanam. So if you were to ask me what the Sanskrit means, I don't know. But, well, actually, I do know. I know the word. I know the translation, but I can't tell you what each word means. But the translation is essentially, it's talking about the 6 loving exchanges between spiritual beings. And it talks about how 2 of those exchanges are actually inquiring with confidentiality and speaking one's heart with confidentiality. And there are others in it as well, such as exchanging gifts and exchanging food. But it talks about how these are some of the basic elements of human beings, and especially in a spiritual experience, the loving exchanges that need to take place to feel nourished. So I love that you brought that up.
awesome. Thank you for sharing. I didn't understand what you said, but I would love to know more about even that phrase, just to, at some point. It's beautiful.
Yes, absolutely. There's a collection of Sanskrit poetry called the Upadeshamrita, and essentially it talks about some tenets of how to live like a bhakti yogi, and this is one of the texts in that. And I'm happy to share it with you on WhatsApp if that works for you after
Yeah,
the
that
call.
would be great. I'd appreciate that. Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. So, speaking of Sanskrit texts, the second play is to trust the playbook. And the goal is to reduce confusion and quote unquote random spirituality by emphasizing guidance and repetition. So, oftentimes in a spiritual practice or even a yoga practice or any practice, you need a ground the truth. Otherwise, you start doing something, someone tells you something else, you turn 10 degrees and you do that. And then they tell you something else, you turn 20 degrees that way, you do that. And you end up doing the zigzag, and sometimes you get turned around 180 degrees too. So the goal is that you have a playbook. Instinction is good, but guidance prevents confusion. And a playbook only works if you actually run the plays according to the book through repetition. And then that repetition creates transformation. So in spiritual life, mentors help form that community and provide guidance, and wisdom texts help give direction. Daily practice builds strength. So the wisdom text in Sanskrit is known as Shastra. So you'll see at the bottom here. I think my cursor is hidden. Just a second. Yeah. So the tool is known as Shastra. So Shastra is the Sanskrit word for the Bhakti Yoga texts. And then we have sadhana. That's a more common spiritual Sanskrit word, which you'll even hear in yoga studios, which just means daily practice, and having a guru, or in a more modern sense, having a mentor who is able to guide you. And it says that these three things are extremely important to play the route properly. Otherwise, it's very easy to, chase your tail to some extent. Okay, the third play is to get off the bench. Move from being just an inspired observer to being an engaged participant. I can't tell you how many times, even in our kirtans, we see many people who come and appreciate what they're doing. They say they really love it, but there's a difference between observing and participating. And whether it's kirtan or meditating on beads or doing yoga, the goal is that, the idea is you can't score from the stands. Spectators can feel really inspired by what they're watching. I can watch an inspirational talk, or in this case, I can watch football and feel really inspired, really pumped up. But it's the players who truly experience the transformation in their lives. So the goal is to get off the bench and become a player. And the spiritual concept here is that we should all get off the bench by practicing seva. And seva translates to service. And at a deeper level, seva is not just service, but in Bhakti Yoga, it's selfless service, which is the idea of doing service for no personal motivation or gain. So there's one relationship in the world which is the most prevalent in terms of selfless service. Would anybody have an idea what that is?
Family?
Yes, family's getting there, but there's one specific relationship.
Giving, right? Giving, because I think being able to take care of yourself so you can take care of others. I don't know.
So in Bhakti, it says that the most selfless relationship is one between a mother and her child. Because the mother goes through so much pain, so much austerity, and gives so much love, oftentimes for very little reciprocation, at least initially, because the child has no idea of this idea of reciprocation. So it says that in Bhakti Yoga, by reaching that level of service, with the motivation of no personal gain, that is truly when you'll feel happiest. And the way to do that is to connect your service with, a higher purpose or dharma. So a big part of bhakti yoga is actually learning about that dharma. How do you serve with a purpose such that you don't have personal motivation? And it's actually a lot harder. When I heard of this, I was like, oh, that should be pretty easy. But we're just conditioned in such a way to always have personal motivation. I mean, I'll give a donation because I get a tax break, or maybe I'll get some recognition, or I give someone a gift because they gave me a gift 1 year earlier. So I have to return the favor and give them a gift. It's really hard in this world to do something without personal motivation, at least in my opinion, in my experience. So practicing bhakti yoga and understanding a little bit deeper really helped me find that sense of happiness through small acts of service. Yeah, Graham, you have something?
Well, I just wanted to say that's giving of yourself instead of like you said. Okay, well, hey, I'll do a donation, but hey, that means I get a tax break. You do a donation because you want to help this cause or this group of people. And again, I mentioned this before. I mean, there are times, I do things for selfish reasons. I need to eat. I need to keep a roof over my head. But I've had these moments where I do a favor for somebody, and not because I have to, or because I'm going to get recognition. No, I don't know. The example, one example was I used to be a rent-a-cop. I've worn
Used to be
many
what?
hats. Security guard. I used to be a rent-a-cop. So, as I was knocking off, and I was at a hospital, and I was just patrolling the garage, and one of the nurses was leaving for the night, and so I waved at her, and I noticed, wait a minute, she's got a flat tire. So I ran down, chased after her, ran down several flights of stairs, and waved my hands. Your tire is flat. And oh, really? Well, she had a jack, and I mean, I was in a uniform, with the cap, and everybody would say, "Oh, are you a policeman?" No, I'm just a security guard. But I changed this nurse's tire. I just thought, okay, well, this is somebody in need, not necessarily, that I didn't do it because I was hoping to get kudos for it. I did it because she had a flat tire.
Out of responsibility.
What's that?
Out of responsibility, you did it.
Not even that. I mean, somebody else, I'm looking at this, somebody else could have done it too. But when I was there and she had a need, and I did it. And so about a week later, she says, "Here." I said, "What's this?" And it was a box of Walker's Scottish shortbread cookies. And I said, "You didn't have to do this." And he said, No. I said, I mean, that's wonderful. And then I teased her because, okay, I've got Scottish background, and I don't know if you're familiar with the Scottish tartan pattern, the plaid.
Yeah.
Okay, so my plaid is predominantly blue and green, and the Walkers, I think it was the Royal Stuart, so it's predominantly red. And this, you gave me the wrong box, wrong colors. She knew I was teasing her. But
Yeah.
no, I mean, really, she didn't have to do that. It was a boost for me, just the fact that she appreciated it, but
Yeah.
I was glad to do it.
No, that's a great story, Graham. And like again, one of my spiritual mentors, he says whatever you appreciate appreciates. So I'm glad that there was a reciprocation, and it comes back to those loving exchanges amongst human beings that keep the world going. So thank you so much for sharing that story. It's so beautiful. All right. So I thought I was going to be short on time today, but I think I might have to speed up a little bit. Thank you for being engaging and sharing your experiences. It makes it a lot more interesting. So, play four is to win the season, not just a highlight. So, the goal is to make consistency be more important than emotional highs. So, it kind of goes back to that example of, when someone takes up a spiritual practice or meditation, they feel this high, like, wow, I feel so renewed. Or it's kind of like you start going to the gym and you do so with like 5 days a week, an hour each day. It's like, wow, I feel amazing. And then slowly tapers and fades off. So, the idea is that championships aren't one on one highlight, they're one on the unglamorous practice behind it. So bhakti grows through steady habits, not through emotional peaks, and small daily wins compound over time. So in this case, the idea is to show up, especially when it's not exciting. And there's a spiritual term for steadiness known as nishtha. And I really love that term. It's really hard to be steady. Humans are habitual beings, and we're built a lot out of habit. For some reason, at least I feel like for me, the tendency is to pick up bad habits over good ones. I don't know why that is. Uh, it just seems easier to pick up bad habits. But through steadiness or nishtha in bhakti, it says that you're able to overcome bad habits and replace them with good ones. But it's about the small habits that compound over time, not like it's kind of like you go to the gym, you'll work out, you'll gain muscle mass, but if you're not steady, you lose it within the span of a few weeks. The fifth one is to stop defeating yourself. I'm also a victim of this. Shift from guilt to skill building. So identify self-sabotage patterns. Penalties erase hard-won yardage, often from unforced errors. And in spiritual life, ego habits and off-track routines can drain momentum. But it's not about guilt. It's just about awareness and adjustment. And Vida, you were telling us about how you have a long list of things, and just having that list of things and being aware of it is just such a powerful tool. Making a list and writing it down. So that's just so important.
I have so many lists.
No, I also run off of lists. I have this Remarkable. It's like a paper tablet. And every morning before I can start into anything, I make a list, and then I have a list of like my daily sadhana habits, things I want to achieve in my spiritual or meditation practice. So yeah, I love lists.
Yes, I love lists too.
All right, the art of the audible. So the idea behind the audible is when something goes wrong in a game or not as intended. In this case, you throw an interception or someone throws an interception. What do? You don't just, sit down and start complaining. You adjust. And the audible is an idea that someone calls a new play. In this case, typically the QB, they'll call a new play and be like, this is what we're doing now. So the goal is that we learn to recover after mistakes, and not just recover, but have a quick reset. Everyone in an analogy way throws interceptions. I found myself throwing one last night, but the importance is to know how to reset. And it says in Bhakti that there are three different kinds of miseries that occur. And one of the kinds of miseries is miseries that arise from one own's mind. Our mind can be the greatest of friends, but it can also be an even bigger enemy. It has the ability to make things up, create overthinking, to cause such, I guess for lack of better words, issues in our life through difficult situations. But when the mind spirals, you need a next play mindset. So in Bhakti, chanting or mantra meditation is known as the audible. It is what recenters attention. It helps control the mind and elevate consciousness to the intelligence beyond just the senses pulling it in different directions. All right, the seventh one, redefining the championship. So, if all goes right, the Seahawks win the Super Bowl. Once again, in Pioneer Square, we have huge celebrations and people jumping on cars and having the time of their lives. But 1 week later, it fades away and it's back to everyday life. So the goal with this slide is that we define success as inner transformation, not just an external win. When we started the Bhakti Studio programs and the weekly kirtans would sometimes only have 2 or 3 people. And it was 2 or 3 people just for the longest time for, many, many months. It was just less than 10 people. And now, it's weekly 20, 30, sometimes 40 people. And someone might be like, wow, what an amazing program. Like there's so many people who come. But at the end of the day, the program isn't about the number of people, but it's about the number of those who experience inner transformation. And in my mind, that is the definition of success for the kirtan programs we run. So even for ourselves, it's about the inner transformation, not the external wins. We can say, oh, I did meditation for 2 hours, but if that meditation for 2 hours was while scrolling on your phone or taking a phone call or, doing other things, I mean, sure, 2 hours you meditated, on the outside it looks good, but inside, did it actually affect you? So the heart wants something lasting. So real victory is steady transformation, becoming more sincere, humble, and loving. All right. So that brings me to the end. So 3 simple practices to start this week. Join the team, find a consistent community and uplifting association. Don't do it alone. I think you all are a great team. I see many of you every week, and I'm very grateful for your constant association. It's so uplifting. Run the reps, commit to small daily sadhana, meditation, reading, yoga, tai chi, whatever it is. Few minutes count. And I think, Graham, you do a great job of this. I mean, anytime you join Wisdom Wednesday and there's time, I see you doing Tai Chi or doing something. You don't let time go to waste. And I think that's so amazing and so important. And then finally, the next play, when you get distracted, return quickly. No drama, no guilt. Learn to hit the pause and then reset button. So the season starts now, from today. Thank you so much for hearing me speak. I hope it was interesting. I'm also fairly new to my Bhakti Yoga journey, but I thought I'd share a little bit of practices I've learned along the way, and I'm very honored that you have taken time out of your day to come and listen.
It's been wonderful. I've really been grateful for this talk and everybody's presence.
Thank you, Vita. We're grateful for you as well, and everybody else. All right. So we have 5 more minutes. Any questions, final reflections that anybody would like to share? Graham, I think you were about to unmute and say something.
No, of course I have it. Have it. I don't know. No, this is a great group, and I'm glad that we're consistently meeting every Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've been joining us for one of the longest times. I think it's been several years now at this point. So, yes.
It has, yeah.
To see you in person more.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, no.
You're good. It just got really quiet after that, so maybe you talked it. Okay. Zoom is always a little iffy with communication.
Yeah, I hear you. Sometimes that awkward silence, you're like, "Oop."
Yeah. Well, I had a reflection. I was thinking about Vita's point regarding having community that's overwhelming or a lot of people, and I really related to that. I feel like as I grow up, my circle of concern or people I hang out with has become much less. And I think it's given me a lot of freedom and choice with what I want to do. So I think community is important and having tight-knit community more so. So I really loved the first point you said. I feel like it can make or break the game. Like even if I'm not doing anything else, just having that community, I feel like really encourages me. So thank you for sharing that, Diane.
I think it's really important, at least from my own experience. Like, I love community. I think it's beautiful, and especially when you resonate with the right community and you resonate with people who you feel trust and engagement on a level that touches your heart. Because there are many times in my life, I mean, you can be surrounded by, I can be in a crowd of 100 people and you can feel like you have no interest. Not, it's not that you don't have any like engage. It's not that you don't have similarities or things with all these people, but there are times in your life where you come across certain individuals that touch your heart and that you feel like the vision is more intimate in a place that resonates where it can help evolve and inspire you from a beautiful place. And I really think it's important to find that because sometimes just having a community, if you don't enjoy it or you don't like it and it's a pressure continuously that you're like, oh, you have, this, you've committed, this is part of who you are, you're doing this. And you, every time you have anxiety or it doesn't make you feel good or it makes you feel like, you're like, can't wait to leave or you can't wait to go back to your inner self. I think it's important to listen to your inner voice as well and your deep intuition. Meanwhile, also, of course, it's always good to push ourselves a little bit out of the box. But I do think it's important to find that place that inspires your heart.
I like that.
I really like how it's not just about finding your place, but it's about finding the place that inspires your heart. That second part, I think, oftentimes is so missing in our lives.
Amen. Yes,
That could be a
100%.
quote. That could be a quote.
Put it on
Yeah,
a
we
wall.
could start making sweatshirts.
Yes.
Let the Bhakti Studio inspire your heart.
Right? The donation platform
I like
inspired
that.
hoodies.
That'd be so nice. Graham, were you gonna add something?
Yes, I did want to add something. So when I was talking about accents, if somebody does have an accent, I'm not holding that against them. If you have an accent or you don't have an accent, that is a part of your identity, and it's an enhancement. When I meet people from other parts of the world that are here in this country, especially now, especially with the political environment, I will tell them your very presence here makes our community greater because the contributions that you give, and it's not just material, it's the fact that you're here, the fact that you're part of the economy and you're part of the culture. You're enhancing the culture. And I mean, when my ancestors came to this continent, um, not just my dad's family, but my mom's family is more of a mix. Some of them came over almost when the Mayflower came.
Mhm.
That doesn't make me better than anybody else who has is fresh off the boat. We
Yeah.
all have our contributions, and they're valid. Period.
Sure.
Across the board.
I like that. Coming as our true selves. Thank you, Graham. That That was beautiful. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being in this space. And thank you so much, Ayan, for sharing so many wonderful insights. Like, who knew the Super Bowl could be turned into this amazing metaphor about growth and finding that determination. So this was really, really helpful. And we know we'll see you because you join Wisdom Wednesdays like mostly every week. So thank you. And if you all are in town and available, we do have a few events coming up. I shared the Eventbrite. Super cool events. Like I'm just looking at it and I'm feeling really excited. There's like a mental detox, Valentine's yoga class, and kirtan. There's journey jams, you name it, and it's there. So yeah, if you all are available, any of the dates, please do come and visit the studio. But if not, we'll always see you on Wisdom Wednesdays.
Thank you for
Yeah.
sending those Eventbrites my way.
Of course.
Yeah. Sounds like you'll be at the studio soon then, Graham. Huh?
I'd like to. It's been a while.
Well,
Yeah.
this Saturday is Kirtan, so.
We have a commitment though. They're recruiting me for doing work on Saturday. So yeah, that's my quote excuse.
Well, I'm sure it'll all come when it's supposed to.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week. Have a good evening.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
See you soon.